basketball career next at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota, where he'll play Division I ball. Congratulations to Tim Franks, this week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
Cousins Subs features only the finest Wisconsin-made cheeses and dairy on their menu. And now the time has come for even more cheese, as Cousins is happy to introduce their new Cheddar Supreme cheese sauce. Order this cheesy treat on their new cheese fries or add cheese sauce to your favorite sub. And for a limited time, indulge in chili cheese fries. More cheese? Yes, please. Order today at any location, online, or via Cousins mobile app. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Saganiac Planning, it ain't synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. I've said that for years. Wrong. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service, and doing it well for over 50 years. Family-owned, over 50 years. That's how the complicated can be easy. Simplify confusing insurance decisions. Not hard when you've been doing it well for over 50 years. Come up with level-funded health insurance. Yep, better than 50 years. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits, top-notch service, and doing it well for better than 50 years. That's the only way to say it. Saganiac Planning, the phone number's still easy. Just remember 783-262-783. Roger Maris, 6161. Yeah, we learned more about the doctor of football, Brian Bulaga. He loves us, but not enough to tell us the snap count for the Green Bay Packers. I'm not the slightest bit bothered, but...
Some secrets, man.
That's good.
You can't give them up.
I don't even know what to ask that might be another secret.
I mean, there's not many. I mean, like, I look at it because it's a true competitive advantage. And, right, like, Aaron learned it from Favre. Obviously, Jordan Love learned it from Aaron.
And it's the same? Wow.
Obviously, cadences and, like, the way their voices and the rhythm of their voice changes. But if I were to guess, if you were to play all three of them on a video and you would hear each one of them, they would sound very similar.
Okay.
They would sound very similar. And each guy has their own thing. But I would imagine that things sound very familiar, especially the way Jordan Love probably learned from Aaron. But I can honestly say, now I've watched a lot of football. I've listened to a lot of football, the hard copies and listening to things. There's no one that has a better snap count than Aaron Rodgers. They're just not.
What?
Nope. You can't.
Explain how you can say that. I'm not arguing with you, but I don't. I mean, that's like somebody has a better sneeze than somebody else. Come on, it's a sneeze.
No.
Okay.
No, there is an art to it.
All right, what's the art
to it? Because it's the timing, it's the tempo of his voice, his cadence of saying, the Green 18, how he goes through everything. Obviously, as an offensive line, there'd be times where we would just come up with words, and he'd come up to the line of scrimmage and would say a word, and bang, the ball was snapped, and we were off. And this could be, it could be a word that we were talking about.
Do you think it's because he studied the idea more, or it's just the way he was?
I think he definitely put a lot of thought into it.
All right.
And he looked at it because obviously we all talked a bunch. Again, he came out to O-line dinner every week with us. We were all very close. He wanted, because he knew the responsibility that was on our shoulders to give him time, right? Like, he understood the gravity of the situation, right? Like,
I don't know. I'm listening.
No, I'm saying he knew that he held the ball a little bit longer than other quarterbacks. He didn't make it always easy for us, which no one expected it to be. But if he could give us an advantage and the team an advantage by changing the snap count, having unique snap counts that would benefit us, he was going to do it. And he did it really, really well. And defenses could never time him up. They could never understand why we snapped the ball. We got more guys to jump off sides than I could even fathom and have free plays. Like, I guarantee you there's got to be a stat somewhere. And, maybe we can pull this. Maybe we could find it in a different show at a different time. how many offside penalties or, free plays that Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
had
he holds the NFL record on that. I don't think anybody's going to argue that.
Yeah. And that's all snap count. That's all snap count, and the defenses having no idea when that ball was getting pulled. And you would be an offensive lineman in this system, and you would be 2 kick sets into your pass set before the defensive lineman would even move, because he didn't want to be offsides. He didn't want to be the guy that gave the Packers a free play and Jordy Nelson would be wide open downfield giving up a touchdown. So, the D linemen played more cautious. They weren't firing off the ball. And we finally evolved that into our silent count as well, and we got really good at that. So when we were on the road and there was no verbal cadence, we carried that on the road.
Right?
Yeah. So we developed a really good silent cadence as well. So it's all part of the process and learning and everyone getting on the same page. But there was no one better. You can't convince me. Even though he held the ball longer, in general, he made your job easier as an offensive lineman, accurate or not. Yeah, because he gave us such an advantage off the get, right? Right off the snap, we had an advantage, right? We felt like we were off the ball before the D linemen, and we could get to a spot before they started their rush. Obviously, there's always outliers to that. Maybe the D lineman guesses right, but for the most part, we felt really good about getting off the ball before the D lineman, and that's a credit.
So, did you make any suggestions of any of this stuff when you went to the Chargers? Like, hey, you might want to, or no?
Yeah, you would make suggestions, but they didn't listen. Especially with Herbert as a young guy, you would just tell him, hey, man, we got to change the cadence. At least go on 2. You can't always go on 1. I know you did that at Oregon, and it was really good, and you clapped your hands, and the ball would, that was really cool. But you got to change the cadence. We can't go on 1 all day. Did he listen? Yeah, he did. He did. Right. He got better at it. And the more I watch Charger games now, he changes the cadence, which is good. But obviously, when you're a young guy, and that's why I kind of say, answer that the way I did with Jordan Love. When you're a young guy, man, you don't want to be thinking about going through this cadence. We saw the thing that happened when they did the QB sneak and he didn't get it. Remember, he was calling for the ball and the ball came when he didn't expect it. And that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're thinking about a lot of other things. And, the snap count is the last thing on your mind. You go on 1, you become predictable. And that's just a thing that Jordan's going to get comfortable with as he gets older, that he could dial into that a little bit more and use that to an advantage.
Talking with the Dr. Football Brian Bulaga, Rick in West Dallas. We'll see if he waits through the break, because we need a break now. He'll be part of the fourth quarter, along with my question. A friend also asked, that offense would have been way better, Rodgers, last year, if he'd have listened and run more of LaFleur's offense than what he wanted personally. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. Football Guy.
Good morning, Tausch. How are you?
Football Guy.
Old T's a little, I'm not feeling 100%.
Coming at it from different views.
No, just I think with all that little stuff that's going around and the long trip back from the loo, I'm going to grind.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
An
ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
Ryan Poles from the Chicago Bears has to trade Justin Fields this month. Why? Because the combine starts on February 29th, and he has to find a way to maximize the return that he gets for Justin Fields. If he waits beyond February, then all of a sudden the chairs start getting filled up when it comes to teams that have vacancies or that we're anticipating having vacancies at the most important position in all of team sports. The quarterback, Justin Fields, undoubtedly will be a hot commodity. Matt Miller, who does scouting for us here at ESPN, said that down at the Senior Bowl, the thought was that Justin Fields will go for a second rounder and a day 3 pick, so somewhere between a 4th and a 7th rounder. In addition to that, there are rumors that the Atlanta Falcons want to potentially include Kyle Pitts in a package to bring Justin Fields to ATL. So there are a lot of things swirling around Justin Fields.
Hey, what's up? I'm Elle Duncan, host of the Elle Duncan Show. If you're looking for a podcast that gives you a little bit about a lot and a lot about nothing, you've come to the right place. There's pop culture, there's sports, really anything that we find particularly interesting that you're talking about on social media. And oh yeah, I do it with this guy named Gary Striksky, who's a homie.
Hey, Elle, what's going on? Thanks for the mention. Can I get on the graphic now?
No. Follow and listen to the Elle Duncan Show wherever you get your podcasts.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Super Spacer technology helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window sill longer, and makes the window last up to 5 times longer than other window systems. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, a free upgrade to triple pane glass. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Fisco Auto Body, I admit I tell you about them so you like me. How does that work? Well, you go to Fisco Auto Body in Forest Home and Franklin. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home and Franklin. They're so good. You're so happy you got your auto body place forever. Think, wow, Homer, he knows what he's talking about. They like me more. I like that. It's easy with Fisco Auto Body. Family business owned since 1931. As I say, it's not what they do, it's who they are. So by the time they're doing it for you, they've been doing it so many times. It's easy. They won't tell you it's easy, but the quality of their work will tell you it must be. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home and Franklin. On Forest Home and Franklin. Fisco, 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 to remember the name. Doctor of Football, Brian Bulaga. It's the Homer Hour. Did Rick wait long enough so that we can get him on now? We'll find out right now. Rick in West Allis. You're on with Brian Bulaga. Let her fly.
Hello, Brian and Homer. Thank you for having
Rick.
me on. Hey, Brian, I appreciate you being on the show because you're so insightful. I'll get to the point. I have 2 questions, really. Who was the most challenging player that you ever played against personally, like in a matchup situation, whether it be college or pro? And what do you think was the best game you actually ever played as far as your performance?
Great second question. Yeah.
Good question. So, I mean, I feel like the first question, there's so many different players that bring different challenges and do different things that, you know, you look at from a matchup standpoint, who would be a nightmare? And I always say it, and I played with him. Fortunately, I got to. It was a blessing for me. It was Julius Peppers. Just an overall matchup nightmare for really any tackle with his size and strength and speed. But a guy that always gave me problems, and I'm well documented, and I give the guy his credit because he's the only guy that I've given up more than I gave up 4 sacks to him throughout my career. He just had my number the first 2 times we played. It was Cameron Wake from Miami. Homer and I, we talked about this.
Yep.
Really good player. Just for some reason, just had my number. And, it's just one of those things that you just kind of have to.
He had to do something that was tough for you to handle, or he surprised you, or he was quicker than he thought, or he did. Because
he had a really good move, and we talked about this. He had a really good move where he would be able to, with his outside arm, so that would be his left arm, would be able to grab behind my right shoulder pad, square his hips up midair as he chopped and jumped and grabbed my outside pad and pull his body through with his hips square to the quarterback. So when you went to go turn and run him by the quarterback, he was already running straight at the quarterback, and you couldn't run him high and wide. So when you would prepare for that then, and that's what he beat me at
nobody
time.
else you played against clearly could do that like he could.
Not to that level. Like DeMarcus Lawrence does it for the Cowboys. I'm not saying he's not good at it, but he's not as effective at it as Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake was just ridiculously good at it. And I can guarantee if you went back and looked at majority of his sacks, that's what they came from that move because it was that good. And probably, think about the best game I played. I mean, man, I would say I don't look at games per se. I look at stretches of games, right? Like I look at a stretch of games, and in 2019, I had a stretch of games early on in the season against like a murderer's row of pass rushers. DeMarcus Lawrence in Dallas, Von Miller, that first year with LaFleur, Khalil Mack, week 1. And then week 2, I think I'd have to check who we played. I'll look it up. But it was a murderer's row of pass rushers. And I played, I think I gave up 1 or 2 pressures, no sacks, no hits. And that was probably the best stretch of tackle play that I remember from my career.
So did the staff ever say against this murderer's row, you need help? And you went, I don't need any help. Or does that discussion ever occur?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really. It was just one of those things where expected to go out there and win.
So right? Then I'm assuming they almost never gave you help.
Not much. So
right.
So I got the schedule up. So week 1, Bears, so Khalil Mack. Week 2, Danielle Hunter.
All by yourself.
Week 3, Von Miller. Week 4, the Eagles with Brandon Graham and those guys.
I can't. Von Miller seems impossible to stop. And you did? Am I overrating how good he is?
No, he's very good. He got a couple pressures, but no sacks or QB hits. And then the Cowboys, and then in Dallas, and then the Lions, and then the Raiders. And it was probably the best stretch that I've had. Then I gave up a sack against the Chiefs in Kansas City on a really bad mistake on my part. Just bad mistake. But so it was like one of the cleanest stretches of football I've had in my career. And in 2011, I didn't give up a sack. I played really clean that year. But like you look at the quality of opponent and you look at how you did throughout that stretch, and that was probably one of the cleanest stretches of football against really good opponents that I had.
In 2011.
Well, 2019.
Oh, 19. I'm sorry. I didn't think.
Yeah, 19.
Okay. So you never got help? Name the times you ever got help.
No, I mean
0.
Listen, I got help. I mean, they would. There'd be times where tight ends would line up next to you. Maybe they would thump the tight end or the DN on their way out. But I mean, the scheme, and sometimes you'd get the slide your way. It all just depends on the defense and the play call, and were you able to get help? The LaFleur system builds in help, like not where they like, hey, we're parking the tight end next to you and he's going to block with you. That's not really a thing anymore in the NFL because you need as many guys out as you can in the route tree. But there's things you can do to help a tackle without actually helping him per se, right? Like you could slide that way, or you can have a running back release out into the flat that way where the DN may think he's getting chipped, but he's not. There's certain things you can do. But for the most part, I mean, I think I got a couple thumps against Von Miller at home. But after that, like you're expected to win one-on-one matchups. And that's the reality. I think week 1, I might have got a thump against Khalil Mack early in the game. Then after that, They kind of said, and it was a 10-7 game. So like, hey, we need to try to score points. So we can't be like wasting
All right,
tight
so
ends.
for people who don't understand, explain what you mean when you say thump.
So the tight end would line up next to you and chip the D end as he went out into his route. Which, hey, as tackles, you love it because, hey, the tight end's taking some steam off that D end, right off the get, and you can get into your set and get comfortable before that D end makes his rush. And you love it, right? Like, hey, I'd take a thump every play if I could get it. But
all right,
that's
we
not
got
the way
1
life
minute
works.
left, and I know you're back on Thursday. I think we do this again till the Super Bowl, right?
That's correct.
All right, so the offense would have been better, Rodgers, last year if he'd have played more of LaFleur's system than what Rodgers wanted to do. And we all believe that because of what we saw, how well these young kids played in the LaFleur system this past year. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I think the talent was better this year for him.
All right, hold on. We'll let you can start with that because it needs way more time. But you would disagree is your position, and you'll explain it Thursday, right?
Yes, I will. I will explain Thursday.
All right, man. Actually, I think Monday continues all year with the Doctor of Football. Thursday, I think this is the last Thursday. Am I right there?
You are correct.
You are correct. Like, you're going to be on 20 other shows as well. Bulaga's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger on ESPN. All right. Are they at Potawatomi today? No. Pato ended. Bulaga lasted longer then. And now, how many wins for the Packers this next season? 7 or 8, 9 or 10, or no? Was that what we had?
7 or 8, 9 or 10, 10 or 11,
or 12 or 13,
12 or more.
More than 13. I think they're going to win 10 games next year. Doc, what do you say?
Yep, 10 to 11.
10 to 11. All right. Whatever's next, it can't be this good. Next.
Things are backing up just a bit. We do have an accident on the ramp from Burleigh to northbound 41, so that's going to be tying things up just a bit. Eastbound on 94, looking pretty good. A little bit tight right through the Marquette interchange itself. Westbound is going to slow down a bit from 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Northbound on 43, backing up a bit from Fond du Lac Avenue up to Keith. And we do still have this incident up on the board on the ramp from eastbound 94 to 4390.